Welcome to the Determined Mom Show, the only marketing podcast dedicated to guiding mom CEOs into tranquility, wealth, and multiplying those precious moments. Welcome to episode 55 of the Determined Mom Show. Today, I am going to talk about how you can be a catalyst for change in your business and also why you should be. So, in recent months, I guess it's almost a month now since George Floyd passed in the hands of the Minneapolis police. And since then, there have been many other assaults on Americans, not only just Black Americans, but white Americans that are standing up for the Black Americans. And it's just been a crazy, crazy time. And the fact that this is still happening, 2020, shows us how far we still have to go. The 13th Amendment was passed in 1865, so that's 155 years ago. However, it left room for basically legal enslavement of the Black population of this country. So it has been a really, really under the radar, I would say, way of keeping basically African Americans from having the same rights, the same lives, the same abilities as white Americans the entire time. So they still don't. They won't until sweeping change happens. And today I want to talk to you about some different things. One is how you can use your business, just your personal life, to kind of rectify this situation. I don't want to say rectify because it's not an overnight process, but to be on the positive side of making change in this country. So then that way there is no privilege. We definitely have a long way to go, but the things that I'm going to talk to you about today can definitely help to move us into that right direction and make these changes in the fundamental everyday practices that we do, especially involving your business. So I'm going to go ahead and start talking about them. The first thing that you can do is learn, not what you learned in school. Our history books have been altered to only include the positive things that white people have done and some of the contributions of Black Americans, but most of those contributions are kind of wrapped in a half-truth. So they may only tell you the shining parts that make white Americans and white historians and white political figures look good. So it's really important to go ahead and start doing your research on, basically, I would start about 400 years ago when the slave trade started, so you can really understand what the motivations were behind it, how it happened, start with African history and really see where those colonizations happened, even into the 21st century, really, and 20th century. Those things have been just going on for years, and they're still going on. Many of Africa, or much of Africa, I should say, is still controlled by European countries, and it is still affecting Africans today and their prosperity and all of those things. So it's not just something that happened, a while ago, it's still happening today. And so just making yourself aware and educating yourself and learning about not only the history, but even the present will help you to kind of understand what's going on. The second thing is just being quiet and listening to what Black, Indigenous, and people of color are saying about what's going on. You may not understand it if you are white, and if you grew up in an area where none of this happened, you weren't really exposed to it, anything like that. So when someone of color talks to you, or they're on Facebook or they're on wherever and they're talking, really listen and really process what they're saying instead of being immediately defensive. Definitely process and see what they're saying and try to understand it. This goes into the next thing, which would be empathizing. So imagine whatever situation, whatever scenario they're talking about, imagine if that was you in that situation. I know it's not always an easy thing, but if you can put yourself into their shoes, just imagining how you might feel if that same exact thing happened to you, that is going to make a world of difference in your understanding of the outrage, the frustration, everything that's going on right now. The fourth thing that you can do is to debate. So if you have trouble processing it, definitely start talking to people. You can talk to other white people that might have a different perspective than you. You can talk to anyone really, and just try to talk through it and understand it and make sure that you're having these conversations. Not talking about it, not having these conversations is going to just perpetuate basically the systematic racism that is in existence. And if you are unsure what that systematic racism is, there are a host of resources for you to understand and basically research and get to know why our country was founded on and built with a system that basically does not value anyone of color. So that goes for Indigenous Americans as well as Black Americans and pretty much every immigrant from every other country. So when you speak out or when you're debating, make sure that you speak out. Make sure that you're standing for what is right. And the way that you can always check this is to basically use your heart. Like, would I want this to be said about my child? Would I want this to, be said about my brother, my father, whatever? Is this something that I would be proud to say in front of my children? Is this something that I would be proud to teach them? Is this a value that, is going to serve them or the world as they grow? So that's a really, really easy way to check what you're saying and see if it's really, really genuine and coming from a place of love. The next thing is to speak with your money. When you're going to hire someone, when you're going to hire a coach, when you're going to join a group, when you're going to pay a VA, when you're going to even just purchasing groceries or coffee or anything that you do in your daily life, I encourage you to look into the background of that company and make sure that they have not participated in any systematic racism or they are not overtly against the Black Lives Matter movement or, anything like that. Because any time you spend money, you are feeding those businesses and you are feeding those opportunities to continue the system in a way that is not moving the country in the right direction towards Black lives being equal to white lives, Hispanic lives, all of the lives being equal. We are not at a place where all lives matter. That's not where we are, and we need to get there, of course. But right now, Black Lives Matter is a movement to get us to a place where we can really, truly say that, yes, all lives matter in this country. That's not how the country is right now. But eventually, if we all work collectively towards changing our country and the fabric of the heart of the country, we can work towards that. The next thing I want to talk about is understanding your guilt. It is very easy knowing that, your ancestors, my ancestors have created this system, have done all of these things. Just even how our country was founded is, there's a lot of things to go behind that and to feel and all of those things. So I recommend that you definitely try to understand it and to try to process it and try to use that as a way to know that we can do better from here forward as a collective humanity. The other thing, the next thing I should say, is definitely being an active participant in real life. So whenever you see, hear anything like that, anyone or anything that you think is racially motivated, definitely speaking up and letting them know why it's not okay, and being an advocate and an activist for people in real life rather than only on social media. It's really important to help others understand this movement is only a political movement in that politics have built the system of this systematic racism over the last 400 years. That is the only political issue about it. It is a humanitarian issue. It is not a Republican, a Democrat. It's what is good for humanity and good for all people in your heart. And that is one thing that is going to lead me into the next point, which is if you lift everyone else up in love, encouragement, support, then you will never, ever have to even think about this. Make sure that, you're supporting their business, you're supporting them, you're cheering them on. You are, just every single person that you come across in your life. If you can show them that you value them as a person, that you value their life, their family, their friends, everything that they do, you value their work, you value every single part of their life, just as much as every single other person in the world, then this world is going to be an amazing place. Imagine if all of us did that on a daily basis. Anyone we encounter, we say hello, we, ask how they're doing. We just really take an interest for people, and not just because they're Black or not just because they're white, just loving everyone and lifting everyone up and just being a positive spirit from the inside out. I've seen a lot of discord amongst the online marketing communities and also the online spiritual communities. I've seen a lot of light workers who are, like psychics and just all of those in that realm. I've seen a lot of them really not understanding fundamentally what is going on and pointing fingers and asking other community members to be quiet and stop talking about it because it's not something that needs to be brought to light and it's not a positive thing to talk about it. And that's not true. I mean, it is a positive thing to talk about it because we're instilling change, we're provoking change, we're having conversations. If you don't ever talk about something, it's always going to be there. So being silent about it is not the way to do it. And also silencing others that are talking about it is not the way to do it either. I actually recently got kicked out of a networking group that I paid $50 a month to be a part of. And I just simply wanted to know if the money that I was spending every month was going towards people that were going to be part of the solution or if they're going to be part of the problem by being silent and not acknowledging this is a global issue that needs to be addressed. Well, they chose to err on the side of not addressing the issue and not being willing to, and they immediately canceled my membership at the threat of me simply posting a post in their group that just let everyone know that my business is supportive of Black, Indigenous, and people of color. So very interesting times that we're living in, but I am very happy to be out of that group because I know that I will no longer have to even question whether or not someone that I'm working with, a client or anything like that, is going to be having that same mindset. And I'm being very, very careful about where I'm spending my money, how I'm spending it, and making sure that I am only spending it with people that either support the movement or that are Black, Indigenous, people of color. So that is everything. I do also have an episode that I recorded, I think in December of last year, that really highlights basically everything that I'm talking about, but from a marketing perspective. So this episode was actually recorded or released in December 11th of last year, and it's Why Including People of Color in Your Marketing is Important, episode number 29. I did that episode originally because I was coming across a lot of white women who were leaders in their industry. They had a large following, but they were kind of being called out for not including people of color in their marketing, which I think still happens to this day. But I really wanted to bring awareness to it back then. And I use people of all different races in my marketing because I want my children, I want my nieces, my nephews, I want everyone to know, or any child that looks at my, marketing, whether it be on their mom's computer or on Facebook or wherever, I want them to know that they are the future. They need to see themselves as business people, as people that can, start a business, grow a business, all of those things. They just need to be included in the overall marketing. And it's very whitewashed, and especially among the coaching and marketing communities that I am a part of, it is definitely a very prevalent issue. That's why I did that episode. And I also have seen quite some backlash from different group leaders, white group leaders, that are not understanding what's going on. They don't understand. They don't know what to do. And they also have silenced people who are speaking out, it's not okay to silence people on the Black Lives Matter movement, but not silence people that are talking about COVID-19. All of this affects everything, especially when you're an entrepreneur. It not only affects your personal life, but it affects your business. Your business is your personal life, is your business, is everything. And it's all intertwined, and it's intrinsically just a never-ending circle of life that needs to be recognized. It's not something that is exclusive from business, and it needs to be acknowledged. So I hope that you took something away from this episode. And if you have any questions or you need to comment or let me know anything that I may have said that is not correct, please do. I am not an expert on race. I am a country bumpkin from middle of nowhere, Pennsylvania that, has educated myself over the years. And I've also married an African. So I completely understand and see how the daily struggles that he goes through affect him and affect our family. And also I've seen, racist acts towards my children, exclusion, those kinds of things. So that is where I'm speaking from. Again, I am not an expert, so if you feel like I need to improve or like I've said something that is inaccurate or anything like that, I encourage you to reach out to me and let me know, and I will be glad to kind of correct it and figure out where I can do better. So I hope you have a wonderful week. This episode of the Determined Mom Show is brought to you by Online Marketing for Moms. This membership is dedicated to helping mom business owners to conquer all of the marketing technology that we need to conquer in order to make our businesses better. Online Marketing for Moms offers group coaching, and we also have added so many new courses. The first one is SEO from audits to backlinks, building a WordPress site with Divi, a Google My Business Masterclass, time management tips for busy parents, an email marketing course from AWeber. And you get access to all of the sessions from the Business Mom Summit. Access to all of these courses individually would be over $600. So you are getting an amazing deal, and you can access all of them for only $37 per month. You can also save 20% by using the code PODCAST when you check out.